As the school year approaches, some families may need to reevaluate their social circles. Right now, Ontarians are asked to stick to an exclusive bubble of up to 10 people. The goal, limit the spread of COVID-19. That's when masks and physical distances are not needed. But will the circle you have today need to change if you send your kids back to school? Let's find out. We're joined now by U of O epidemiologist Dr. Raywat Deonandan. Good morning, Dr. Ray. Good to see you, sir.
Good morning.
Is there any way to avoid the social bubble beyond 10 as the kids go back to school?
Wow. Is there any way to avoid it? Well, there is no bubble police, so you can always avoid it. The question is, what should you do? So I think it's important for people who are vulnerable, who are elderly, who have elderly in their lives or immunocompromised people in their lives to consider the extent to which they want to expose those people to children, because children, as we know, are disease vectors for a number of things. So it's important, I think, as the fall comes, for us to reconsider how we're going to socialize and with whom we're going to socialize.
So the question I have is, if you have young kids or even teens going back to school, and you have grandparents in their lives, you saying keep them apart for how long?
Well, I'm not saying keep them apart, but consider the risks. You may want to keep them apart. You may want to advise your teen not to socialize beyond his immediate classrooms. For how long? Well, until the crisis is over, or until the numbers in the community diminish substantially. I keep saying that the best way to keep schools and the children and everybody safe is to keep the load in the community as low as possible. So if we're in single digits per week in Ottawa, then you're probably pretty safe. If we're in double digits per day, then I start to panic a bit. So until the vaccine comes, or until we drive that caseload as low as possible, I would be cautious.
We're into double digits again. Yesterday there was a blip. I know we talked on the radio earlier this week, and you said, look, the long weekend, don't look at that as the true snapshot of what's happening, because lower testing, people weren't going. We're back to reality now, and we're into double digits. So are you worried?
No, I'm not worried yet. Ask me in like a week or so to see if this continues, this trend continues. But, always got our finger on the cancel button to shut down some industries, some behaviors, maybe finger wag a bit to people who are being irresponsible. So this is a training time to see if we can do things right in the fall. And so far, the jury's still out.
Shut down industries. You're talking bar and restaurants, aren't you?
I'm speaking, cryptically, but yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I mean, is that inevitable if this continues to have 24, 25 cases, or what's the magic number?
Well, there's no magic number, and nothing's inevitable, but we have to reconsider the options if things are trending the wrong way. Now, it's not just that one metric, number of new cases, the reproduction number, the percentage of tests that come back positive, the capacity in our hospitals. So it's possible that the people getting sick aren't going to get seriously ill. If that's the case, then we don't have as much of a crisis. So we have to look at measurements on a variety of fronts, not just the incidence rate.
You're a new dad, 3 months old. First of all, congratulations. In a pandemic. How did that work out, by the way?
Epidemiologist has baby in pandemic. It was meant to be.
Yeah, exactly. All well, I'm guessing?
Yes.
Good.
All well.
But if your kids were older, going back to school, would you send them back?
Depends on the age. If I had teenagers, I would probably keep them home, because I could keep them home and they can self-manage, they can feed themselves, and they can probably socialize online fairly healthily. If they were younger elementary school students, I think at this point I would send them to school. I think the need to socialize outweighs the risk of exposing them to this disease. Mind you, I hope that there are structures in place in the school to keep them as safe as possible, or more importantly, keep me safe from them.
Yeah.
So I'm sensitive to those families that don't have the capacity and resources to keep their kids home. So we have to worry about them.
Do you think enough is being done to protect us? I mean, the parents and teachers, they're not happy with the back to school plan. Are you?
No, I'm not. I think more can be done. We can spend a lot more money on this, and we should, because it's an investment in the long-term wherewithal of our society. The money stays here in the province. We can make class sizes much smaller, fewer than 10 students per teacher. We can put masks and face shields on everybody. We can put plexiglass barriers between desks. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to work all the time. Let's not let perfect be the enemy of good. Do as much as we can, improve the ventilation systems and filters, and we can reduce the risk substantially.
It's interesting because we seem to be writing so many checks, be it federally or provincially, and, kudos to all the people who are helping out right now. But this one seems like a no-brainer. I don't want to put you in the Premier's mind, but what is the hesitation, do you think?
Probably because you won't see the return on investment for 10, 20 years when the quality of our society of educated individuals is higher. So there's no political advantage to be had if you're going to be out of office in 4 or 5 years, when the benefits will be accrued in 10, 20 years.
Is this where politics and science are sort of colliding? Like, what's it going to cost us at the polls in a couple of years? Is that what you're saying?
Politics and science are always colliding. So it's a nonstop collision.
Yeah, but it's key right now, right? You got the chief medical officer of health, and you've got the premier. Yesterday, the premier said, if it were up to me, I would put 5 kids per class. Well, isn't it kind of up to him? And apparently, Dr. Williams thinks otherwise.
I don't know who it's up to. I do know that our leadership needs to take this more seriously. I mean, what is more important than educating our children? I think the 2 most important priorities for a provincial government are education and health. And this time, they're the same thing. So let's spend all the money we can and spend them on Ontarians here in the province. So it's an investment in our own people and our own economy. And we keep everyone safe and the economy stays open.
Do you have faith that the trigger will be pulled if we have to, go back?
I do actually.
You do?
I do, because I'm looking at Australia and other places where they had the guts to do so, and the places in the U.S. where they didn't, and horrible things happened. So I think the people making the decisions are seeing those signals and recognizing we have to have the power to make draconian changes if need be.
And you're expecting it to happen potentially then?
I'm an optimist. I don't expect bad things. I plan for the worst. I expect the best.
All right, we'll leave it there. Dr. Raywat Deonandan, thank you, sir. Always a pleasure to get your insight.
Thank you.